President Trump continuing to defend his wealth and his children's business dealings after financial disclosures revealed earlier this week that the president has made more than $2 billion during his first year back in office.
In the disclosure this week, the amount of money that you and the family made in crypto, it was an outsized number. I was just asking, were you know about the crypto venture? So that was just something.
By the way, I could know about it. I didn't.
Right.
I mean, there's nothing illegal. There's nothing wrong with it. I could know. But I feel badly in a way for my kids because every time my kids do, if they invest in a stock or if they go and do a bill, anything they do, because the presidency is so powerful, so big, everything, right. If they buy a cupcake company, well, the energy to make the cupcakes is, sort of like, how's my energy policy? So therefore you have a conflict. Almost anything they do, if they want to buy a truck, if they want to buy, if they buy an energy efficient truck, they have inside information. It's pretty tough in that sense. I tell my kids, stay away from as much as you can stay away from, but they also have a life. We were doing business long before I ever thought of, you knew me a long time before I thought of even running.
But the dealings under scrutiny are, of course, not as simple as simply buying a new vehicle. Both of Trump's sons have benefited when companies they own or they are involved with have either inked deals with the White House or cashed in on deals made by their father's administration. And they both have gained from cryptocurrency ventures under their dad's name. Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump co-founded World Liberty Financial with President Trump. That means that they earned a portion of the more than $500 million in token sales and $65 million in selling equity stake that the company brought in last year. David French, that was Trump there at our sister network, CNBC, trying to explain this away. The New York Times, your paper, and other places have written extraordinary pieces just about how unprecedented this is. Sure, we've had other wealthy presidents before, but we've never had one who's made this sort of money while in office, and seemingly he and his family making this money because he was in office.
We cannot forget also that the Trump administration, the Trump campaign, made Hunter Biden a centerpiece of the entire 2024 contest. I mean, they were talking about Hunter Biden relentlessly, so was right-wing media, and Hunter Biden never got within shouting distance, screaming distance of the kind of numbers that we're talking about here. And then the kind of overt self-dealing, stock trading, crypto investing that we're seeing, in which the president is enriching himself. And then many of these riches are being extended to friends, supporters, et cetera, at a scale in which, I've said this before, that the Gilded Age, the corrupt Gilded Age oligarchs are sitting there thinking that they are, rolling in their graves, that they were doing this in the wrong century. They could have made real money if only they were waiting around until the 2020s. And so, this is a situation here, though, that has some resonance with a very recent electoral outcome in Europe, where once some of the economic promises of populism start to falter, once some of the grandiose authoritarian ideas of this new populism start to lose their luster, then a lot of voters start to look at corruption. They often won't look at it when times are good, when they're feeling good, but when they're under strain, when inflation is increasing, when they're feeling pressure in the job market, the absolute last thing they want to see is a president of the United States making himself multiple billions of dollars, really exploiting the opportunity that they gave him. And so this is something that, while the economy's humming, doesn't really hit us, but it absolutely does when people are struggling.
Yeah, I revealed on the show yesterday that I've talked to a number of Democrats just in the last week or two who, David, to your point, feel that corruption could be a real winning issue this fall for exactly the reasons you just laid out. David Ignatius, it of course comes as no surprise that Republicans have been silent on this the last couple of days, after beating the drum about Hunter Biden. managing to avoid reporters this week and about President Trump and the money that he and his family are making. And, of course, just putting this in context, I can't help but think, and maybe it's because of the 4th of July and the 250, thinking back upon American history and our presidents and noting that Jimmy Carter had to sell his peanut farm. Other presidents have gone above and beyond. It was public service was meant. There was a sense of self-sacrifice. You were putting the country ahead of your own personal interest. That is simply not the case with our current commander-in-chief.
Trump has just blown through every limit that we thought that we had as a country. It's painful to watch it. If you grew up as I did in Washington, D.C., and understanding my dad served in government, that there were certain things you just couldn't do. They weren't right. This was about public service. I was struck this week by President Trump celebrating Theodore Roosevelt, one of our great presidents. And Roosevelt's important in our history because he came into a political world that was thoroughly corrupt. Offices were for sale in New York, where he lived. Literally, it was run by kind of mob bosses. And Roosevelt got his start as a political reformer by saying, we need absolutely strict standards for government employees. We need conflict of interest laws so that people can't deal on their own behalf, become rich while they're serving the public. That was President Teddy Roosevelt, and he was tough, and he prosecuted people. And now we have a president who has, I mean, the number just stunning, $2 billion last year as president, as our president, working for us, took in this private money. And you can only imagine, he was looking at a AI laser-generated image of Theodore Roosevelt. You can only imagine what the real Theodore Roosevelt would have had to say to Donald Trump if he'd happened to encounter him this last week. Yeah, he has some pretty stern words for our president.
Yeah, and the president and his family not shy about suggesting that they aim to continue to make money while the president is in office.